Ayi Bobo, welcome back to another episode of Mysteries of Haitian Vodou, the podcast where we dive deep into the sacred, the hidden, and the misunderstood. I'm your host, Papa Mystique, and today's episode is something truly special. I recently sat down with a remarkable voodoo practitioner who has been walking this path for over 20 years. She shares stories of spirit, struggle, and strength, and the wisdom that only time and the law can offer. And today, I'm joined by my co host, Natara Rose, who's going to help me unpack this incredible conversation that I had. Let's get into it.
Papa Mystique, you just had what sounds like a profound interview with someone who's been living and practicing voodoo for decades. How did the conversation come about?
Honestly, it was divine timing. We actually met on TikTok. And once I heard how long she had been practicing and how deeply rooted she was, I knew that we had to meet in person. And I knew she had something important to share with our listeners.
So, what struck you the most about her personal journey into voodoo?
Well, I'm going to let people listen to the actual interview, but what stood out was that her calling wasn't theatrical. It was actually deeply spiritual. Ayi Bobo, Ayi Bobo. I would like for everyone to welcome our special guest, and I would like for her to do us the honor and introduce herself and explain to us how you got into voodoo.
Bonsoir, Bobo. Non pas moi, c'est Sheila Antoine. Moi, fait Carrefour. Moi, c'est un spiritualiste, mais c'est un vodouizant, mais plus spiritualité en pile. Moi, commencé vaudou de très tôt. Mais c'était toujours avec un pile curiosité qui t'a fait comme à chercher. Parce que une série de bagailles qui t'a privé dans la famille, hein. Bon côté maman, bon côté m'te besoin connaître pour qui ça bagaille ça t'a privé nous. C'est ça que fait m'te qu'on chercher en pile. C'est dans chercher qu'on est problème famille et puis moi vinn commencer à apprécier valeur vaudou. Je commencer à apprécier valeur énergie yo que yo les lois yo. Vinn à connaître parce que grand-mère me sorti Jacques Mel dans sud-est, maman me fait Port-au-Prince, moi-même moi fait Carrefour. Mes familles c'est chrétien yo témoin de Jéhovah, ni maman ni grand-mère. Donc yo té gon rejeté que t'es fait, yo té rejeté et nation guinéenne. Et bagay ça a été rentré dans famille depuis bien avant qui fait que famille m'était qu'on souffrir en pile surtout nous mêmes filles. Nous pas de kage mari, le pour nous pas de kage un monde ensemble avec nous. Donc moi même j'étais toujours besoin connaître pour qui sa famille t'a souffrir comme ça. Et c'est le ça me devine que nous te gagné des gros problèmes mystiques. À partir de là, je viens embrasser Vodou et depuis le ça tout, m'adopter parce que li retire m'nan pile problème, li aider ni moi-même ni petit moi.
Good evening, Ayi Bobo. My name is Sheila Antoine. I was born in Kafou. I'm a spiritualist. I'm a voodooist. But I do more spirituality. I started voodoo very early. But it was with a lot of curiosity, which made me like, I'm searching. Because there was a series of things that were happening in the family. By my mother's side, by my side. I wanted to know, why are these things happening to me? That's why I used to search a lot. It was in searching to know my family's problem that I came to appreciate the value of voodoo. I started to appreciate the value of the energies, the spirits that they called the Loa. I came to know because my grandmother came from Jacmel in the southeast. My mother was born in Port-au-Prince, and me, I was born in Kafou. But my family are Christians, Jehovah's Witnesses, my mother and my grandmother. They rejected the Guinea nation. And this thing entered into my family from before, which made my family suffer a lot, especially women. We couldn't have a husband. We couldn't have someone who was with us. But I always wanted to know, why was my family suffering like this? And it was at this time I came to realize that we had a big problem that was mystic. And from there, I came to embrace voodoo. And from this time, I adopted it because it removed me from a lot of problems and has helped me and my children.
So, what did she say about her relationship with the Loa after all these years?
She has a very personal relationship with the law, like most voodoo practitioners do. And she communicates with them on a daily by one, doing the ritual of jeté de l'eau, like I've explained to many people before. And she also does offerings of manger and libations to them. So she has a very personal relationship with the law, and she's very knowledgeable about the law. She gave me the opportunity to look at her personal home setup, and I was truly amazed at how she honors the law. It's really remarkable. Could you tell us if there is a particular law or spirit that you feel especially close to? What is that relationship like?
Oui, ça pral dépend. Parce que l'on pral senti que ou genyen yon énergie qui attire ou, c'est l'on ap tan don musique loi, l'on ap tan don chanter ou bien l'on gon couleur, ou l'on mette couleur ça ou senti ou bien. Moi-même, moi gen plusieurs lois qui attire m'en pile. Moi gen maîtresse yo qui attire m'en pile, surtout maîtresse nan de l'eau yo. Moi gen maîtresse Julie dans ton qui attire m'en pile. Moi gen guédé yo tout qui attire m'en pile. Donc ça va dépendre de gens sentou, l'on ap tan don musique loi ou bien l'on gon couleur que ou mettez. C'est ça que fait, gen yon bagay qui relé dans vodou de basic. Base vodou, faut ka commencer kon qui couleur qui marche à tel jour, qui loi qui marche à jour ça et jour ça qui joue sentou. Parce que jour ça, jour loi ça. On prend exemple, par exemple lundi c'est jour guédé. Est-ce que jour lundi ça, quel que soit sort à régler, jour ça, li marche pour vous. Parce que gen de moun qui kon le vont jour la règle bagay, jour ça pas jour pas. Faut commencer à apprendre observer, apprendre garder et à partir de le ça ou après si c'est lundi, l'on règle bagay, tout soit besoin régler les lundi. Li marche pour vous, commencer connaître que ou gen de guédé qui marche avec vous. Commencer connaître que jour lundi ça son jour spécial pour vous, qui couleur qui servir avec lui, qui esprit qui servir avec lui. Servir loi pas un bagay qui facile. M'ka di nou ça parce que c'est un mode de vie lié, it's just lifestyle. Ou pas ka créer ton jour du jour au lendemain servir loi. C'est un bagay qui vini au fur et à mesure qui vient entrer dans sang, qui vient entrer dans ou même. Parce que ou ki doit ouais ou moun ap servi loi, ou ki doit ou moun ap font bagay, mais ou même s'il pas correlo, sou pas gen calling pour lui, ou pas faire. Parce que contrairement à ça, on t'a comprendre, un vodouwizant c'est un monde qui très discipliné. Gen bagay ou pas ka faire lorsqu'on vodouwizant. Donc, faut nous commencer à contrôler tête nous, faut nous commencer à apprendre contre tête nous d'abord, commencer à observer la nature, commencer à garder qui joue, qui fait nous du bien, qui joue dans le règle bagay, tout ça n'a réglé, qui joue ça, toujours marcher pour nous, qui couleur, les nous mettez sous nous. Comment nous pral connaître comment couleur attirer? Ou pas qu'on nous habille un jour, tout le monde a dit belle, tout le monde a salué, tout le monde vient koto, ça c'est couleur pour là. À partir de couleur ça, ou pas qu'on qui loi qui marche avec couleur ça et qui joue loi ça marcher pour capable prendre ça comme plus au sérieux. Donc c'est à partir de là. Mais à part de ça, Vodou très belle. Mais a toujours un conflit parce que gen moun dans Vodou, gen moun qui a cherché l'argent ou du moins qui a cherché l'autre bagaille. Mais non, Vodou pas gagné pour chercher la donne que remen pour remen. Parce que si c'est un bagaille ou chercher la donne, si so ap chercher ou pour joindre ni ou quitter parce que loi pas jamais précis, énergie pas jamais précis. Faut faire loi zanmi nous. Faut faire loi remen nous. Avant que yo lâche ba nous. Loi c'est quand moun yo et tout. Énergie grand pile dimension. Yo ce sont des les lois sont des énergies dimensionnelles. Loi c'est énergie dimensionnelle yo. C'est plus n'a ba yo valeur, c'est plus y a entrer dans la vie nous. Aïe bobo.
Yes. But this will depend because when you feel you have an energy that attracts you, it's when you are listening to the Law's music, when you are listening to a song, or when you are wearing a color, when you put on this color and you feel good. As for me, I have several lois that attracts me a lot. I have the maîtresses that attract me a great deal, especially the ones in water. I also have maîtresse Ezilie Dantor, which attracts me a lot. I have the Guédé too, which attracts me a lot. But this will depend on how you feel when you are listening to a specific loi's music or when you put on a specific color. That's why in Voodoo we have something called the basics. At the base of Voodoo, you must know what colors go with which day. Which loi walks with that day, and on that day, how do you feel? Because it's this day, this loi day, for example, Monday. Monday is the day of the Gede. Does this day, the things that you handle on this day, do they work well for you? Because there are people who get up to go handle something and this day isn't their day. You have to learn to observe, learn to watch. From this point, you will see if it's Monday when you go to handle something, that everything you want to do on this Monday, if it works for you, you start to know that you have the gate that are walking with you. You start to know that this day, Monday, is a special day for you. What colors work with it? What spirits work with it? Serving the law is not something that is easy. I can tell you that because it's a way of life. It's a lifestyle. You can't just say one day that you are serving the spirits. It's something that enters into your blood, that enters into you. Because you can see someone that is serving the spirits, you can see someone is doing something, but you yourself, if you don't have a calling for it, you will not do it. Because contrary to what one may think about a Vodouwizant is someone who is extremely disciplined. There are things you cannot do when you are a Vodouwizant. But we have to start controlling our own heads. We have to start learning to control our heads first. Start observing nature. Start watching which day does us good. Which day, when we go handle something, which day works for us. What colors when we put them on. How are we going to know how the color attracts? Don't you notice a day when you dress up and everyone tells you you're beautiful? Everyone is greeting you. Everyone comes beside you. That is your color. Now from this color, you will know which loi walks with that color and what day this loi walks on. You can take this more seriously from this point on. Apart from this, voodoo is very beautiful. But there will always be conflicts because there are people in voodoo, because there are people who are searching for money or they're searching for other things. But no, voodoo doesn't have anything that you are looking for in it that you like to like it. Because if it's something you are looking for in it, if what you are looking for, you haven't found it, you are going to leave it. Because the law are never in a rush. The energies are never in a rush. We have to make the law our friends. We have to make the law like us before they unleash. The law are like people too. The energies have many dimensions. The law are multi-dimensional. The more we give them value, the more they will enter into our lives. Aye, Bobo. Could you share with us your thoughts on what role you think voodoo plays in the identity of Haitian people?
Vodou joue un gros rôle dans la vie haïtienne. C'est ça qui fait qu'on a après un pile moun commencer gen un appel spirituel. Parce que premièrement, pas oublier c'est Vodou ban indépendance. Comment t'as vle pour Vodou bon indépendance? Parce que Vodou pas une religion, non? Vodou son mode de vie, m'a pour dire non ça encore. Yon bagay qui bon indépendance, pas ka diable. Yon bagay qui retire chaîne nan pied ou, pas ka diable. Mais gen yo preni, yo fait Vodou à tourner sale tourner, hein, justement pour yo capable retirer liberté nous nan men nou. Moi-même m'a dit tout haïtien conséquent. On retourne dans racine nous. On font ti chita gade pour nous avec Vodou côté nous et sans Vodou côté nous. Parce que Vodou pas diable. Encore une fois, Vodou c'est pas une religion. Vodou son mode de vie. Parce que yo Vodouwizant li gen toute branche dans Vodou. Gen médecin feuille là, gen ougan, gen Vodou li vraiment vaste. Li pas un seul bagay. Mais kounya énergie ça yo qui dans la nature, yo tout dans la nature. yo pas l'autre côté. Nous avons 4 éléments qui en dans nous. Et puis, nous suivons la nature avec tout esprit qui marche avec nous, ni bon maman, nous, ni bon papa, nous. D'ailleurs, premier ça fait nous commencer à couper pied bois, qui se reposoir énergie yo. L'on pas de pied bois autour de vous même, ça va passer. Ou pas de oxygène pour respirer. Donc, si gen bagay m'ta ka di haïtien, c'est prendre conscience de racine nous de côté nous sorti, de la couille. Parce que yon grand pas un diable, au contraire. Yon vrai vodouwizant, c'est un monde qui reme moun, c'est un monde qui connecté avec la nature.
Voodoo plays a big role in the life of Haitians. That's why you are starting to see a lot of people are receiving spiritual calls. Because, first of all, don't forget that voodoo is what gave us independence. How would you like for voodoo to give you independence? Because voodoo isn't a religion, voodoo is a way of life. I'm going to tell you that again. Something that gave you independence can't be the devil. The thing that removed the chains from your feet can't be the devil. But they took it and they made voodoo turn into what it is, just so they could take our liberty away from our hands. I'm telling all Haitians, consequently, let's return to our roots. Let's sit down and see with voodoo where we were, and without voodoo where we are now. Because voodoo isn't the devil. Voodoo isn't a religion. It's a way of life. Because of Vodouwizant, there are all the branches in voodoo. There are leaf healers. There are Hugan. There are voodoo is really vast. It's not a single thing. But now these energies, these spirits in nature, they're all in nature. They're not other places. We have the 4 elements inside of us, and we are following nature with all the spirits that walk with us on our mother's side and on our father's side. The first thing they did to us is cut the trees down, which is the resting place of the spirits. When you don't find trees for yourself, what do you think will happen to you? You don't have oxygen to breathe. If there's something I could tell Haitians, is take conscious of our roots, where we come from, of the Lacus, because a Hungun is not a devil. To the contrary, a real Vodouwizant is a person who likes people. It's a person who connects with people and connects with nature.
That kind of transparency is pretty rare and valuable. What kind of legacy do you think she's building for the voodoo community?
I think that with her Ayibobo community that she's created on WhatsApp, I think that in itself is a great legacy that she's leaving for her children as well as people who are very close to her. I'm even a part of the Aibobo community now. And they do share a lot about voodoo, but they also share the type of Haitian camaraderie that you would expect, where they care about each other. You know, they check on each other and they celebrate each other, which is what we're supposed to be doing anyway. So I think she's leaving and building a great legacy in her voodoo community. Could you explain to the listeners when you are performing a ritual, let's just say feeding the loa, manger, what do you do? What are you actually doing when you are feeding the spirits, feeding the loa? Could you walk us through that?
Par exemple, moi-même, moi sorti dans la cour, côté que c'est pas maman, c'est pas grand-mère, mais c'était l'autre famille. Nous pas prendre action nous-mêmes, nous jouons don. Moi-même, moi, c'est un cartomancienne, mais c'est un monde qui fait 4. Il y a don de faire 4. Que depuis petit, don ça, il était toujours là quand même, mais c'est à partir de 33 ans, moi, viens cultiver don. Bon, me dis non, le nous ba loi manger, c'est pas loi pas manger parce que loi son énergie liée, mais manger c'est offrande et c'est même produit ça. Nous offrir énergie ça yo, comme gratitude Et puis, le la caille, moi, m'a parlé pour la caille, moi. Le nous fin déposer manger pour l'oyo, après 3 jours. Manger ça, gen manger calenté, par exemple, cousin Zaka, ou fouiller trou metel, manger blanc yo déposer dans de l'eau, dans rivière, ou bien dans source, et puis manger guédé yo déposer dans kafou, ou bien dans cimetière. C'est comme ça, la caille servi. Mais chaque monde servi rituel pa yo, façon pa yo. Mais toutes ces mêmes là. Parce que chaque côté servi, yon gens. Mais c'est même Vodou. C'est même famille. OK? Donc, Vodou, encore une fois, m'a dit non, c'est pas jeter de l'eau li mes baleines seulement. Vodou, c'est une façon de voir la vie. Vodou, c'est une façon de vivre. Parce que yon Vodouwizant pas qu'à faire toute bagaille. Nous pas pas comparer tête nous-mêmes Vodouwizant avec l'autre monde. Mais quand on rentre ka Vodouwizant chita ou son Vodouwizant pareil, la petit rad sou li la ba ou. La descend cabane ni la bo dormi.
For example, me, I come from the Laku, where not only my grandmother or my mother, but other family members, we don't take the asson, we find gifts. Me, I'm a card reader. I'm a person who reads cards. We have gifts and we read cards. Ever since I was little, this gift was always at my house. But it has since been 33 years I have come to cultivate the gift. Let me tell you, when we give the law food, the law doesn't eat it because the law is a spirit. The food is an offering, the same product of this land. We offer these to the spirits as gratitude. And when I'm home, I'm speaking for my Laku, when we finish putting the food for the law, after 3 days, there is food that goes into the land. For example, Kuzan Zaka, you make a hole and you put the food in it. The food for the white law, we put it in water, or the river, or a waterfall. And the food for the gede, you put it in the crossroads, or the cemetery. That is how our house works. But each person does their ritual their way. But it is all the same name, because each place serves a different way. But it's the same voodoo, the same family. But voodoo is not just throwing water and lighting candles only. Voodoo is a way of life, because a Vodouwizant cannot do everything. We're not going to compare ourselves with other people, but where you can go to a Vodouwizant house and sit down, and you are a fellow Vodouwizant, they will take their clothes off their back and give it to you. They will come down from their bed and let you sleep in it. Thank you so much for all of your answers. Would you like to share some parting words about voodoo? What kind of advice you would give to someone who's interested in searching deeper into what voodoo is or wanting to learn more about voodoo? And would you like to provide some information about yourself, how people can contact you? Ayi Bobo.
Vodou son société li. Et d'ailleurs, moi expérimenté en pile gen moun que c'est Vodou qui mette sous route moun nan. Moun nan pas connaît ni en blanc ni en noir. Depuis le connaît son Vodouwizant, li ouvert bral pour moi, oui. Li recevoir moi. C'est pas que pas gen mauvais moun, même gens dans l'autre religion gen mauvais moun. Mauvais moun nan c'est personnalité moun nan, tempérament moun nan, mais c'est pas Vodou qui fait moun nan mauvais moun. Moun nan kon mauvais déjà, sans pas besoin Vodouwizant. Mais yon Vodouwizant, là yon Vodouwizant pareil li recevoir, li accueillir. Yon Vodouwizant, c'est un monde qui sociable. Donc, moi-même, ça m'a dit nous tous haïtiens, c'est pour nous mettre tête nous ensemble, pour nous refaire un seul, parce que nous tous c'est un seul, nous tous c'est semblable. Et c'est ça que cérémonie bois caïman a fait. Nous tous te mettre tête nous ensemble, nous t'es un seul bagaille, un seul objectif, c'était retirer tête nous dans l'esclavage. C'était tous pour un pour tous. Non, en 2025, là, c'est ça, m'a demandé. Numéro de téléphone, moi, c'est 484 898 51 77. Si on t'a voulu contacter pour faire compte, moi, j'ai un groupe mystique, moi, côté que nous parlons de mystique, nous changer d'idée, parce que Vodou, encore une fois, il pas aller non seul sens. C'est nous chaque qui peut te coller, ça aurait les combits là. Si chaque grain moun konon bagay, nous mettons tête nous ensemble, nous discuter, nous faire combit Vodou, nous venons plus connaissance et nous venons vivre plus en harmonie. N'a voyé loi monter, énergie monter. Et puis ti moun nou yo tout, faut nous commencer dès la base apprendre yo côté au sorti qui moun yo yé parce que nous même haïtiens nous pas ti kal moun non. Nous pas chaque côté nous river. Même là nous pas qu'on parler langue pays. Nous arranger nous faire ça pour nous faire. Nous vraiment intelligents. Donc c'est toujours à partir de lorsqu'on vodouwizant ou un troisième yeux couvert, même lors dans travail ou qu'on qui gens pour comporter. Même soit manger, yo dou manger quand couloir. Ou pas ouais loi, c'est tout bon manger, quand manger quand on tchaka le cousin, on manger tchaka cousin. Son bagay qui a toute qualité vitamine là-dedans hein. Donc encore une fois, si nous avons besoin plus d'explications sur Vodou, nous avons besoin de faire plus parler sur Vodou, téléphone moi, c'est 484 898 51 77. Nous avons relé moi, nous avons un rendez-vous, et puis le ça, nous avons fait carte avec moi, et puis nous avons discuté de Vodou, nous avons entré dans plus profond, dans ça qui relait la coup, dans ça qui relait énergie. Aïe bobo.
Voodoo is a society, and I have experimented a lot. There are people that voodoo put me in their path. The person doesn't know me from white or black, but they know that I'm a Vodouwizant and they receive me. It's not that they don't have bad people, just like in other religions, they have bad people. The bad person is that person's personality, their temperament. But it is not voodoo that made them a bad person. The person was already bad, even if they weren't a Vodouwizant. But when you have a Vodouwizant and they see a Vodouwizant pair, they receive them. A Vodouwizant is a person who's sociable. But what I'm telling you is that we're all Haitians. We have to put our heads together to make one, because we are all one. And that's what the Bois Caiman ceremony did. We all put our heads together for a single objective, and that was to take ourselves out of slavery. It was all for one and one for all. In 2025, that's what I'm asking. My telephone number is 484-898-5177. If someone wants to contact me to get a reading, I also have a voodoo group on WhatsApp where we speak on voodoo. We exchange ideas, because voodoo doesn't go in a single sense. If we each bring something, if each person knows something, we put our heads together, we discuss it, we come to have more knowledge, and we have better harmony. We are sending the law up. We're sending the energy up. And the children, we have to start teaching the children where we come from, who they are, because we Haitians, we aren't a small people. Don't you see each place we arrive? Even when we don't know the language of the country, rearrange ourselves. We do what we have to do. We are very intelligent people, because it's always, when you are a Vodouwizant, you have a third eye open. Even when we are at work, we know how to carry ourselves. Even if you are eating, they tell you to eat like the law. You don't see the law? It's all good food that they eat. Look at the chaka for cuisine. It's a meal that has all kind of vitamins and nutrients in it. If you want more explanations on voodoo, we can talk more about voodoo. My telephone number is 484-898-5177. You can call me, you can make an appointment with me, and at this time you can get a reading, and we can discuss voodoo in a more profound way. What's called a laku, and what's called energy. Ayi bobo.
If you can take one lesson from the time you spent with her, what would it be?
Patience with the spirits, with the path, and with yourself. A lot of people want quick results and loud blessings, but voodoo is sort of a slow fire. It works on your soul, not just your situation. So that is the one thing that I would get, and especially with her having over 20 years of practitioner experience, the things that she's shared with me, I know that when you're in this, you have to be patient.
Wow. So many powerful truths in this episode. Thank you for sharing that interview and your reflections. If you're listening and you're feeling called to deepen your own spiritual journey, be sure to connect with Papa Mystique.
Make sure you connect with me. I'm on YouTube at Papa Mystique. I am also on TikTok at Papa Mystique, and I am on Instagram at Papa.Mystique. So make sure you reach out if you're interested in learning more about voodoo. And again, my book is available, Mysteries of Haitian Vodou by Papa Mystique. All you got to do is go to Amazon, type in the search bar Papa Mystique, and my book will show up. Make sure you get yourself a copy. There's a lot of great information in the book that you can use if you're interested in Haitian voodoo. Make sure you're also following and sharing the podcast. Stay in tune with us. Make sure you stay up to date with everything that we're doing. And I want to thank everyone for tuning into Mysteries of Haitian Vodou. So be sure to follow the podcast, leave a review, and visit papamystique.com for more. Until next time, walk with honor, speak with truth, and always listen when the spirits call. Aye, Bobo.